Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today's video is about a dumpster fire full of yucky photos, but not so much about the photos, but what to do after they happen. So it happens to all of us. Whoever creates something, there are times, places, events that when we create, we just don't like what we've created. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that in this video and some of my approaches to dealing with that. A couple notes. This is specifically geared for photography and in particular street photography, but I think it applies to a lot of creative situations, so I hope you find it helpful. Stay tuned to the end if you want to see the dumpster fire photos. I'll talk briefly about them at the end. There's about 10 of them, and you can share my misery. So let's get started with some thoughts on how to approach your feelings and what's next after you've had something you've created that you don't really like. So the first step I take whenever I have stuff like this happen, and it's what I've done in preparation for this video, was to reflect on what might have happened, what caused this. And in my experience, there's three kind of general things that can cause this. There's internal stuff, emotional, mental things. There's external factors that happen, and then there's the technical stuff. So let's start with talking about some of the external factors that might get in the way of creating what you want on any given day. And I think for me, some of those things include stuff like when I'm out making photos, it's the weather, it's things outside of our control, like a flat tire, it's events in life that happen that get in the way of getting into the mental space you need to be, which I'll talk about in the third part here. So those external things, for me in this situation specifically, it was the weather. It was supposed to be a semi-sunny day with some clouds, and I had kind of prepared my brain for that. And it ended up being a slightly drizzly, chilly, cloudy, not a typical August day around here. So my brain was already kind of in a, because of the weather, the external stuff. So I was aware of that, and I thought I could push through it, but as I'll talk about in a minute, I couldn't on that day. A second thing to think about that might get in the way of any given day's creative results not being what you want is some of the technical stuff. Most of us, a lot of these days, are creating with highly sophisticated pieces of equipment, so sometimes that goes sideways. Simple as dead batteries, full memory cards, not sure what all the buttons, knobs, and dials do, or trying to do something that you've never done before on your device, your camera, and you're not sure even where to look. So those frustrations happen, and they can really derail your thinking, which then derails the whole process. So be aware of technical things if that's part of the problem and how you might address it in the future. The advice I like to give young artists, or really anybody who will listen to me, is not to wait around for inspiration. Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. If you wait around for the clouds to part and a bolt of lightning to strike you in the brain, you're not going to make an awful lot of work. All the best ideas come out of the process. They come out of the work itself. Things occur to you. If you're sitting around trying to dream up a great art idea, you can sit there for a long time before anything happens. But if you just get to work, something will occur. And then something else will occur to you, and something else that you will reject will push you in another direction. Inspiration is absolutely unnecessary and somehow deceptive. You feel like you need this great idea before you can get to work, and I find that's almost never the case. That's Chuck Close. So inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us get to work. So I found even on days when I'm not feeling it, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Once I get out there, once I get started, that's when I find the inspiration, the motivation, the next photo. This day it didn't happen. That happens sometimes. And that's another mental thing to think about is that, well, how else would you think about it? You have to think about things mentally. Anyway, the point is, this is not uncommon. It happens. You're not alone. So if you can find some grace in that, knowing that you are far from alone in not feeling inspired at times, not feeling motivated to go out and create. My encouragement, because this is what I do for myself, is to get off the couch, get out of the chair, get in, go out with whatever you want to create with, and start creating. And in that process of starting somewhere, you'll hopefully find some creative inspiration to create the next thing, and so on and so forth. So I hope that's helpful. That's point number 2. Inspiration is for amateurs. Point number 3 I want to make is to be intentional about what your next time will look like. And I have 3 little subpoints in this. Can you tell I like threes, grouping thing in threes? I do. So point number 1, when you're thinking about next time as you are being aware of what happened this time, is to create the best environment you can for you to be successful next time. So thing number 1 I want to suggest here for your next time consideration is to be intentional for yourself to set yourself up for the best opportunity for success. That'll look different for all of us, but I think being intentional is really powerful and important. For me, that means knowing ahead of time what day I'm going to go out and create photos. So I generally do this on Fridays when I go out and do photos. So I have that in my schedule. It's a regular part of my day. One less, or my rhythm, one less decision to make, and it's not random, it's intentional. If I wait for, I feel like making photos today, that hardly ever happens. But if I know, Friday's my photo day, then I can get excited about it, interested, invested in it, and I find that really works for me. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what your intentional success creation moments are and how you do that. So please leave that in the comments below. Step number 2 in this, thinking about next time, is to think about what you might change that didn't work, if you can name it, and be intentional about that. And then thinking about what did work and whether you want to keep that the same. Or vice versa, change what worked and don't change what didn't work. I don't know what to suggest there. This creative stuff is squishy at times. But for me, my suggestion would be whatever you're going to change, try just changing one thing. Leave all the other variables the same, but change one thing so that you can evaluate that more clearly to see if that was the thing that was helpful or was in the way previously. For example, next time when I go out, I'm going to go back to Bellevue, so I'm going to keep that the same. And the thing I'm going to change is use a lens I've never used for street photography. I just realized this. And I'm going to take out the 16 to 55 f2.8, this beast of a lens, and use that for street photography and see how that goes. So stay tuned next week and you'll find out how that went, and so will I. And then suggestion number 3 I have for thinking about next time for you is to consider a break or an opportunity for reset. If you're feeling really frustrated, if it's just overwhelming, if you feel like there's no success and it's just not happening, a short break is maybe a good idea. Sometimes it feels good to stop banging your head against the wall. I've heard that phrase, and I think it's true. So, but for me, my tendency, and this may be true for you as well, is I tend to try and push through, because I know for me, the power of rest and the pause becomes so powerful that I continue resting instead of resetting, and I tend not to go back to things. That's happened to me multiple times when I've tried working out. I've gotten sick or something happened, and then I stopped working out, and then this happened. So, but photography I've been pretty consistent with, because it's been a priority and a great source of something I really enjoy, and it's good for me mentally and somewhat physically as well. So, but a pause, a reset might be good. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year. But think about that, consider it and see how it feels to you, and then go from there. So those are some of the things I think about. Those are the things I've thought about from last week's photos that I'll show you in just a minute. So I hope you maybe found some things helpful in here. And if you have suggestions, oh my goodness, because this is so common, if you would please share them in the comments below. I'd love to have more ideas on this for myself and for the tens and maybe even hundreds of you watching this. So I appreciate your sharing that so much. So let's take a look at these photos I'm talking about. and we'll go from there. All right. So as promised, here's the photos from that session last week that I just didn't like, both the experience and the results of the photos. So here they are. There's going to be 11 of them here. So this first one's not awful. I was trying to just make a photo of this person taking a break. It's okay. I'm trying to get a little creative with framing, but it's more distracting than helpful. I do like this photo a bit. I think there's a really neat little moment here, but the composition's a little sloppy. There's a lot of distractions here. Yes, there's already cropped a little bit. But there's a neat moment here of this worker down low through the window, but it's just not very clean. It's a neat moment, but not a neat photo. That happens a lot, and it's going to happen a lot in these photos. This might be my favorite from the batch that day. This lady with wearing light-colored clothing with her light-colored dog against the light-colored background, a little bit of foreground interest. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not embarrassed by it, so there's that. I'm just trying to find something. So, hey, let's do a close-up of the button you push to make the walk arrow turn on. It's okay. Not great. I saw these folks walking down this construction scaffolding area. And I liked his orange jacket. She's got an orange backpack. There's an orange sign. There's kind of orange all around. It's okay. I've done it before. It's okay. I kind of like this. It kind of looked like the guy's head is just floating above the dumpster. Again, there's something here. I don't know that this is it. It's a little weird that he's just looking down and you can't see his hands. So anyway, there's that. Another, again, kind of unfortunate moment. I was just impatient waiting for this guy who I think was on his phone here, but it almost looks like he's standing in the bathroom taking a break, if you know what I mean. Again, the framing's kind of interesting with the elements around it, but I don't know that this is the moment. There's something here, but I just wasn't patient enough to wait for it. Saw this interesting character riding his bike, and again, I just kind of missed it. I was out of position, so I just clicked a photo. I've got this person over here with their head floating on the car, half of this lady, this guy over here. So it's okay. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I just don't know that it's the winner. When in doubt, try looking up and make some architecture photos. No, no. I mean, it's okay. But again, I've made a photo like this before a whole bunch of times. Next to last here, this photo, I saw this guy walking on this top level of this scary thing, and I was waiting for him to start walking, and I was really torn here. Again, this is another situation where there's a photo here, or at least a neat moment happening, but I don't know how to make the great photo. Because if I zoom in and get out the 70 to 300 and zoom in on him, then you lose the context of that he's up 200 feet in the air. But here you can't really tell, what am I supposed to look at? There's no clouds. The sky is just there. So that's a technical term. So yeah, it doesn't work. It's okay, but it doesn't work. Here's the sprinkles I was talking about on an orange table. Yay. It's okay. It's maybe phone wallpaper background or computer paper, desktop background, but I don't know. Again, I'm not embarrassed by it, but I'm not super proud of it either. So that's a kind of a brief wrap up of those photos. It was 2.5 hours. I made only 40 photos. Usually in that amount of time, I'll do probably over 100 to 150 photos. I just wasn't seeing stuff. I wasn't feeling it. My brain was busy and full of stuff. So yeah, it was just, I still got almost 3 miles of walking in, so there's that. So that felt good. So I hope these thoughts were helpful to you as you think about your photos and what you want to do next after you have created some photos that you just don't like. If you have any other ways and suggestions that you deal with situations like that, again, please leave them in the comments below. I'd really like to have a conversation about this because I know this isn't the exhaustive list of how to approach this, but this is a way that works for me. So I hope you do go out and make more photos. I hope you have a lot of fun doing it. And so until then, I hope you stay safe, stay well, and have fun creating photos, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.